sometimes in India it can be by month or by quarter. We've seen that with service tax and TDS every time. So preparing your data, the advice to do the compliances, your business systems as such are more devised to give you business stability, right? Standardized business processes. To go through these kind of changes, I would argue personally for a system which is not impacted with these changes. And with GST being monthly system, you cannot keep up, or a ERP or an e-commerce system is best not touched to keep up with these changes. Now, so that takes me to the point where you have to transform data from your transaction systems to a compliance system, whether it is internal within your ERP or whether it is external. Why? Because GSTN wants you to give data in its format, and these formats are also subject to change. The GSTN wants you to validate data against their taxonomy, which we validate anyway. And then the tax managers want to see if the set-offs are properly applied, are categories properly applied, is any credit going wasted in a particular location. So the tax technology you should adopt is something which will not just help you transform data from your source systems, that's technically called ETL, extraction, transformation, and loading. The second step that you would want your system to do is help you validate the data. Here I would like to point out one simple thing. Who is best suited to do validations or reconciliations every month? Every month your transactions are coming in and somebody has to reconcile them. So that's where I think your invoicing teams are better capable of doing those reconciliations. Finally, conformity is where tax planning could happen, set-off management, credit management, and save some money actually for the business. Now, of course, the leadership teams in finance roles or in tax roles, they would want dashboards. If I have 20 GSTNs, can I get all alerts from GSTN on one dashboard? Can I see what is the filing status in my Maharashtra location? Can I see what is the filing status in some other location? So these are the typical challenges. And finally, I think a software should be capable of collaborating your procurement and invoicing teams, procurement teams especially for your reconciliations, tax teams to plan and save some money, and your IT teams to be able to do the transformation part, and your senior management to have the dashboards and view about it.
I just want to add a few more points, taking from whatever he is saying. So there is a transaction system and there is a compliance system. So one of the key things probably you need to look in your organization or the organizations where you're consulting, that should you really tightly integrate them or keep it loosely coupled to start with? And probably that's one important question to look at. And of course, whether you like it or not, you need to look at your invoicing application, whatever it is, and then get it ready for 1st of July. So that means you have to raise invoices as per the new format. So the first and the foremost thing is you should go back and check how is it being done and make sure that those systems get ready. And my 25 years of experience of all these migrations tells me that until unless you have some staging environment and some mock runs happening, anything can happen. So, but business cannot stop on 1st of July. So that means there is definitely a need for more and more testing. And in that testing, it's not only you are looking at the complete supply chain. So when you're talking of all these credit mismatch and other things, so you may have to really look at, what your vendors are doing also, probably. So that conversation is very important, and you need to start it now if you have to be ready for 1st of July.
Yeah, and I always used to believe that, the IT systems are almost like mobile phones. If you have not, if you have skipped a download, you can always do a download and, that will start working. But then I came to know this is not how it is. So broadly speaking, what you need to do, first thing is to do a version check and make sure the IT system that you are running is compatible to accept an update or an upgrade patch. So all the major ERP system provider will come with a patch or an upgrade. And before you do that, you need to make sure that it is compatible to receive. Once it is compatible, perhaps you kind of want to run that patch. Once you have run that patch, you will have to look at the customization, because it is in India we customize it to a large extent. और हमारे पास predicament या हमारे पास जो confusion होता है वो है कितना automate करें कितना standardization चलें. अगर ज़्यादा automate करते हैं तो फिर customization ज़्यादा होता है और अगर automate नहीं करें तो manual. So we need to look at the customizations, and once you've done the customizations, the important areas are the transactions, the master and the MI. So you spoke about the record. So हमारे transactions change हो रहे हैं, CGST, SGST, place of supply rules, valuation change हो रहा है, masters change होंगे. So एक बार हमने master configure कर लिया तो सारे service provider, सारे suppliers के GST number एक बार update करना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर वो नहीं है तो report pull नहीं हो पाएगा, वो apply नहीं हो पाएगा. वो हमने कर दिया. उसके बाद हमें क्या चाहिए, एक रिपोर्ट चाहिए जो जिससे कि GSTR1, GSTR2, GSTR3 बन सके. And after having all of this done, what you will have to do is do a testing. We call it user acceptance testing. एक बार हमने test कर लिया, test scripts generate करके, then we will be fine and good enough to go ahead. So it's a long journey, and my experience suggests that IT is the most difficult area to implement. And this is the business continuity issue, as we call it. अगर हमें ये नहीं पता है कि हमारा टैक्स का सेविंग कहाँ से होगा, चलो ठीक है, we can still be compliant. But if the IT systems are not ready, then it is a matter of compliance. Now from India, I just changed the topic and the subject to ask Kevin that, Kevin, how do you see the role of tax technology and what has been your experience in especially the economies who've implemented GST?
Yeah, I mean, it's fascinating, you know, to have a viewpoint from outside and to see what's happening here. It's so exciting. I heard one of the earlier speakers talking about one nation, one tax, and that is it's a wonderful aspiration. At our company, we may not necessarily like that because we love complexity. So when you look at indirect tax systems across the globe, you know, they're very different. They're the same in some ways, but more often than not, they're very different and they're complex in different ways. And we like to take that complexity and simplify it for customers and businesses. Some of the key learnings are, and some of the points are coming out here from my fellow panelists, you know, continuity and consistency across disparate systems. I think my colleague on the end here mentioned, you know, having to ensure that all of your systems, whether it's your point of sale or an online environment or your back office ERP, are all drawing on the same information and ensuring that at a reporting stage that all of the information is consistent and maintains compliance. So that's important, obviously, and that can be achieved through external tax engine, tax determination, tax compliance tools. And I think there was also mention of you know, native solutions being built within ERP, and you know, that's a difficult subject, and I'm not going to go deep into it here, but you know, tax is very specific. It's a very specific part of the overall process, and that's why I would certainly believe, and our observations globally would suggest that it makes sense to work with a specialist in that area of tax, as opposed to relying on your ERP to build out that complexity or to build out a solution to address that complexity. The other thing that, you know, I've noticed is, you know, technology is just such a central key role in today's compliant world, across banking, across financial services, but obviously here it's very topical right now. And you know, there's lots of people in the room here who are very expert in terms of consulting with their clients around how to be ready for July the 1st. And I would suggest that lots of the bigger companies are already engaged and already tuned into what needs to happen. But there are a whole community of smaller businesses as well that maybe don't have the resources, maybe are not, you know, aware of what's coming downstream, although they should be. And I think it's only technology that can help help businesses at an SME level as well as at a corporate level.
Yeah, and you know, I mean, I keep thinking about how the technology landscape or the tax would look like, and there's something called a tax technology. And this tax technology is something which has been there, I think, in Europe and Australia and all the developed economies for a fairly long time. But I'm sure a lot of us would not have heard tax and technology called tax technology. The other thing which I keep hearing about is the fact that tax analytics. So हमने tax के बारे में सुना होगा, हमने big data सुना होगा, analytics सुना होगा, but we've never heard about tax analytics. So the way I see it, and believe me, this is fairly simple than predicting the outcome of UP elections, but it's fairly simple to predict how it's going to be in the next 4 years. So where we are today in 2017, I see in 2020 the tax analytics to occupy a big space. So we have these solutions, जिसको हम बोलते हैं predictive analytics. Predictive analytics helps you to do a prediction based on statistical assumptions. So like for example, if you have duplicate invoices, it will actually tell you that if a particular warehouse is prone to generating duplicate invoice or a software, where all can happen next. It will tell you how your input tax credit build-up is moving. It will tell you how it will move in another 6 to 8 months with the data. So tax analytics and a predictive analysis is again going to be a big outcome. And one of the reasons why it was not there is because of the fact that every state had a different system, every state had a different form. You really cannot standardize anything and use it. Now with GST being implemented, a lot of the aspects are getting standardized, and we always say it with so much of confidence. कि सप्लाई चेन में हमने कोई भी अगर MBA करा होगा सप्लाई चेन में तो वो इतना पढ़ता है कि सप्लाई चेन ऐसा होना चाहिए, सप्लाई चेन में वो होना चाहिए, बट जब वो इंडिया में होता है कहता है टैक्स डिसाइड करता है सप्लाई चेन. Now with the analytics theories are going to be something which is going to be put to use, and I'm pretty confident from where we are today, 4 to 5 years, we'll see those dashboards being rolled out. Any challenges that the panelists see in the rollout from the SSC perspective? What is the state of readiness you think we are in as far as the India is concerned? And we are sitting in the month of March and we are talking about July.
As far as our system is concerned, so it's going to be a fresh greenfield project. Right. So we are not carrying any legacy data from the current VAT systems or the service tax systems or excise systems into the GST system. And be that it as an advantage, the disadvantage is we won't have upfront data to give you analytics in the first month itself, right? So we'll need some time for that data to get populated, and then maybe 6 months down the line will be a good time to start the analytics. But we already have analytics as part of our systems, and the various kinds of reports as to who's transacting what, how much ITC he's claimed and then disappeared, or his 1 month sale was, let's say, X amount, and the next month's sale is just about a fraction of that. So all these figures can be pulled out, and I'm sure I'm not a tax person, but a tax person would have even much more use cases which he can, try to pull out, information from.
So that's July 1st, and 6 months from then, what Pankaj is essentially saying is he's going to make a lot of information, a lot of intelligence available with all the state agencies and the central agencies. So what probably I would say is before they get ready, you need to get ready with your technology, with your analytics to ensure you are doing it right.
I hope you're not talking about the evasion part.
Yeah, from where we are today, I guess the transformational changes would be required as far as the IT systems are concerned. And the strength of, or the usefulness of the exercise would depend upon to learn from the proven people, which means what has their experience been outside India, because this has already happened outside India. And I was in Malaysia when it was supposed to get introduced, and we were talking about how the tax rates and pricing and all that stuff. All that they said was, look, we don't have time to do this because we want to do our IT system. And I'm aware of the fact that that the kind of changes that they had to introduce into their IT system were something that they've never experienced. But we are not that bad as that they are, but we are much more complex. So I think it's going to be an interesting landscape. And I've never attended a conference where technology is discussed for 2 days. And this is something which for the days to come, I guess, that this is going to be the buzzword. I think the tax experts and the interpretation of law is going to continue. But what is changing, and really, the big credit goes to an organization like GSTN to put up a system which is so sophisticated. And I was attending.
And I'm going to request Mr. G.R. Reddy to please step forward and do the honor to Mr. Gaurav Pandya. Thank you so much, Mr. Gaurav Pandya, for doing the session with us. Thank you. It is the time to request Mr. Harish Agrawal to please step forward to honor Mr. G.S. Balaji. Here we have Mr. Harish Agrawal to honor Mr. G.S. Balaji. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Thank you, sir. And with that, I'm going to request Mr. Manoj Agrawal to step forward to kindly present a bouquet as a token of respect to Kevin Boland. Thank you so much, sir, for turning up here and making this session so special. With that, I'm going to request Mr. J.C. Mittal to please step forward and kindly felicitate Mr. Pankaj Dikshit, Colonel Pankaj Dikshit. Thank you so much, sir, for sparing this moment with us. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is the time to request Mr. Sunil Vichare to please step forward and kindly present a bouquet as a token of respect to Mr. Pavan Peechara. Everybody, please join your hands together. Sir, I'm going to once again request you all for the group picture. Once again, please. And with that wearing smile, we're having GST. It's the biggest reform which has been taking place in Indian economy. Thank you, gentlemen. It was indeed a pleasure to have you all here. Thank you, sir. So ladies and gentlemen, what do we say? आप लोग क्या बोलते हैं? Next session start कराएं? Yes or no? हाय कितना मासूम सा yes था ये. No. We won't make it that way. And there's nothing beyond special than energy which is needed in all you people. So ladies and gentlemen, the next session we're going to begin at 1:50 p.m. So that just actually gives you more than 35 minutes of a lunch break. We'll see you all after this break. Thank you so much.